All right, in 3, 2. Welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member at MavsMoneyball.com, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, writer at Mavs.com, live and in person. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
Man, hold up, because your audio is going back and forth on mine.
Can you still hear me? Check.
We're good.
We're trying something new. We're trying something new here. We've never done this before. If you're listening on the podcast and you're really confused, we're doing this live on my Periscope as well as on Twitch and YouTube, and we're trying all these new things, and I expect things to go wrong. I expect Isaac to be a little laggy right now. We're still trying to figure that out. But yeah, if you're watching live, send us your questions in the chat in any of the platforms, YouTube, Twitch, or on Periscope. If you're watching any of those, go ahead and send your questions in the chat, or just if you wanted to say something, say hi, go ahead and send those. So, man, Media Day was today. It was awesome. I had to watch it from afar, but I still enjoyed all the stuff that came out of it. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of stuff to unpack. So on the podcast, live on Twitch, live on YouTube, live on Periscope, let's go ahead and break this down, Isaac. What was the biggest thing you took away from Media Day?
Biggest thing, it's always a fun day. It's always super fun seeing everybody again. It's kind of the start to the whole season again, and just seeing all the players. You get to see a lot of players for the first time in a while, and that you haven't. Some of you just talked to over the summer a couple times, but. Biggest takeaway from today, I guess. The confirmation of an obvious that's. It really wasn't. It's kind of a debate over the summer, but over the past couple of weeks, we had been talking about on the podcast, but that Dirk would probably be coming off the bench, and it was kind of funny because last year, we mentioned on the pod yesterday that Carlisle said last year was Nerlens is coming off the bench, and now this year how different this year. And no, I did not ask Rick Carlisle about Nerlens Noel. So thought about it. Somebody tweeted me today and said you should ask Rick Carlisle if the Nerlens Noel experience went wrong or it was bad.
We appreciate the feedback sometimes, and the hey, ask this question, but we've exhausted that. Like we've done so much on that. We've exhausted it to the point of, gosh, like we're done. It's behind us. It's past us. We have a center now that's way better. We're way past it.
Yeah. So that was the I guess one of the biggest takeaways. Just storylines that you're going to see across national media outlets. You've already seen ESPN. Yeah. There's a lot of national media there today, which is cool. NBA TV was there set up. I know I saw McMahon doing something with Luka on ESPN. There's a lot of different people there today. But if I had to narrow down one thing that we hadn't talked about going into Media Day, and something cool just to hear everyone talking about, mainly Rick Carlisle, was the improvement of Dennis Smith Jr. over the summer.
Yes.
And you couldn't get excited enough about that. As far as Rick, he was glaringly promoting Dennis in his big time summer. And what you looking at me for?
Some Perkins in the chat said Nick doesn't know where to look. I'm looking at I wish I could show you guys how many things I am looking at right now.
Guys, we are broadcasting right now on Twitch, on YouTube, Periscope. We're on everything right now. So Nick's getting questions or he's getting chat stuff in, and I don't see all that. So y'all can hit up Nick for that. But yeah, it was really cool hearing Rick just really brag on Dennis Smith Jr.'s summer, and him saying that Dennis is 2 to 3 to 4 times better, like more in shape this summer now compared to last year. That's big time. And he even said, I tweeted out, a lot of people tweeted out saying it on the court, he's the fastest player he's ever seen, and that's saying something. Rick Carlisle's seen some fast players in his time.
Yeah, that is wild. But it is kind of funny that Rick is like, oh, he's such a fast point guard. It's the fastest point guard I've ever seen. And the last couple of point guards he's had were like JJ, Darren Williams, old Jason Kidd. It's been a while, Rick. It's been a while since we had one of these. We got a question from two different sources, from Perkins and then from Bugic. So is Luka a legit 6'9"? I don't think he's a legit 6'9". I think he's a legit 6'8". Even, maybe like between 6'7" and 6'8". I don't think he's 6'9" though. Your thoughts on seeing him in person today?
I mean, we're literally talking about 1 inch right now. All right. So, I mean,
it matters. In the chat, let me know. Does an inch matter?
in basketball, in basketball terms, like in a height on a basketball court, does that matter? But no, I mean, yeah, I mean, you see the different pictures of him standing close to Harrison Barnes and DeAndre and Dirk and all of that. Listen, 6'8", 6'9", he's a big boy, and he is a tall. He is a tall guy, and I got a little one-on-one time with him today. He's super nice. It's different because I was talking to someone on the phone on my way home today, and they were like, "What?" He probably was just like starstruck, and I'm like, actually, he wasn't like really starstruck because he's been doing this for a long time. Like,
yeah, and we found out that they do have media days at EuroLeague, and he's done this before, and he's been through all this and been through the media circuit. And at the end of the day, when he was talking to Ben and Skin, he was kind of like, "I'm done. Can we just we're done."
Yeah, and he, I asked him point blank. I was like, how is this media day different than like past media days that you've come from? And he's like, oh, not really, no different. And that's just Luka's. I wouldn't say it's like a bright eye, a deer in bright lights, like normal rookies would, because he's used to that. But there's still an adjustment to it, and it's still tiring, for them. There are so many at media day. They have to go to so many different stations and take so many different pictures and photo shoots and all this different stuff and all this crazy stuff that you see on like the Jumbotron at Mavs games and stuff, where players are doing lip syncs and, singing to songs over headphones and different stuff like that. That all happens today mainly. And so they're getting pulled and tugged all these different directions, but
doing a lot of different things at once.
Yeah. But Luka was awesome. I mean, Luka's a fun dude, and just, he's chill. And it's like we've been saying a long time. Yeah. He's not going to be he's not DeAndre Jordan, because that going into if we're going to say, hey, what's another thing that stood out? People are going to love DeAndre Jordan, and there are still feelings there for a lot of people, and we totally get that. But his personality combined with the highlights that he's going to provide, there's going to be a lot of fans that absolutely love him. His personality is so contagious, and he was so fun to be around today that, he's going to be fun.
On that note, Richard Hernandez on YouTube asks, Isaac, what was one thing that surprised you today?
One thing that surprised me. Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. Ray Spalding shorts.
Were they short? Did he go short?
Let's just say his compression shorts were longer than his actual shorts. So
is that a look people are doing now?
I don't know. I guess so. But we chatted a little bit about Kentucky today. It was super funny. I talked to Ryan Brokoff today, met him for the first time, and I was like, "Hey, bro, talked to you last night on the phone." He's like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, and,
did he say it like that?
Not that high. But no, he was super cool.
Oh my God, put a shrimp on the
bobby. What was one thing that surprised me today?
One thing that surprised me actually was, and we'd been talking about this. This is a big thing, is how are Luka and Dennis going to coexist? How are they going to either not necessarily just interact on the court, but even off the court? We're seeing so many times. It's even coming up now with the Sixers with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. People are asking, are those guys, are they connected? We've seen this with, Russ and KD. Are those guys actually friends? Are those guys actually, hanging out together? And I think we saw today with Dennis and Luka, and it kind of surprised me that they've been hanging out a lot. They've been doing things together. And by hanging out, I mean, they've been playing a lot of Fortnite together. They've been playing a lot of video games together. And that's kind of how their generation or our generation hangs out and bonds. And that was kind of surprising to me. To hear them on Ben and Skin, I think was the biggest thing for me, is to hear how just how much fun they can have together and joke around, and how Luka and Dennis, it feels like they know what's up. You know what I mean? It feels like they know what's going on between the two of them, that they are the focus of this, and that they need to, kind of rely on each other to make this happen. They're very complimentary of each other, which you would expect on a media day. But even with Dennis saying, I think Ben Rogers asked him, what position do you think Luka Doncic is? And he said point forward, which if you say that, that means you have a point forward on your team. You're giving up a little bit of your, control over the game. And I think him understanding that and going into the season knowing that makes me feel a lot better about them together. And the more time they spend off the court together, I think the better they're going to be on the court.
Yeah, and they live in the same apartment complex. They have already been hanging out some. That Mark Spears article that came out earlier this morning on the Undefeated, that was awesome, and said that he already calls him, I guess just calls him Luke and LUK, and but just them just talking about each other in this way that it's only been a couple weeks. Luke has only been here like 2.5 weeks, whatever it is, but the fact that they're like befriending each other, and it's not this, hey, we're just on a basketball team and we're just going to know each other's names, that means a lot. And will Dennis and Luka ever be like what him and Dorian Finney-Smith are? We don't know that. But the fact that they're already friends and they've hung out and stuff like that, like that's just crazy. As a Mavs fan, we haven't gotten that in a lot of us never. But going back to the Dirk, I think Bennett Skin even mentioned, I was sitting right beside Bennett Skin when they were doing that interview today, but like they were talking about Dirk and Nash when they first came along together and got to Dallas and stuff. But that was seeing them in photo shoots and stuff together. That was fun, including the cowboy hat photo shoot, which was awesome.
Do we want to tell people about the cowboy hat photo shoot?
Well, let's just say the cowboy hat photo shoot was reserved.
To be a surprise.
Was a surprise reserved for a certain outlet, and they didn't tell people to not take pictures of it in time. So some people tweeted out some photos of it before all that stuff, and that.
And some people were asked to delete those photos, and then they did, but then they forgot that they're on their Instagrams as well.
So
we got a couple chats here to get to. Shout out to James Williams, finally able to catch a live show. The season will be here. I'm so hyped. People are so hyped about the season. Cheyenne said Lucas, I'm thinking he means Luka, looked so tiny next to Dirk. Because Dirk's like 7'1". He's gonna look tiny. He's gonna look smaller, but
and I will say this, Dirk has a very visible limp, and I know it's still going.
Is it like an old man limp? You know how like old men kind of play basketball where they always seem to kind of hobble up the court?
No, like you can tell he's like just really favoring the foot. And I know Rick said that they're trying to work him in. He's going to be really limited through training camp. That was mentioned a lot, and that the hope is that he can play in China. I'm just going to tell you right off, I'm going to be very shocked if he plays in China. So
they already said he's not going to play in the first game, right?
Yeah. So
not in China, but even the first game against Beijing here in Dallas.
Yeah, my guess, and this is just my guess, is that they are going to shoot for opening night. And if it went past opening night, I would not be shocked. It's just there's just no rush at this point. With him coming off the bench and all that stuff, like you don't want this lingering all season long of taking a week and this or whatever it is. So it's crazy that we're going to have Mavs basketball in next weekend, like a week from tomorrow or Saturday.
It's wild. It's so crazy. Question, is Dennis legit 6'4"? This was hilarious today, and I can't read the name because I don't read either Mandarin, Chinese, Japanese. I can't read that. So I would shout you out, but I can't. Is Dennis legit 6'4"? This is a great question. When they had the live stream from Mavs.com, and it was Followell and Coop, and apparently they had the roster sitting in front of them, and every time a player would sit down, they would just look at it while they were introducing them or whatever, while they're just sitting there waiting, and they would look down at it, and the first two people that went were Dennis and Wes Matthews. And so Dennis gets down there, and he sees on the sheet, it says that he's 6'3", And as soon as he sits down, he goes, "I'm 6'4" now." It says like, "I'm 6'4" now. Which, okay. And then Wes Matthews sits down and he sees, what does he see? Oh, he sees 220, and he said he's actually 215, which doesn't count for our bingo, which stinks.
Oh
Because
man,
5 pounds off. But he apparently last year and before was 220, and now he's down to 215. But yeah, what do you think about Dennis saying that he's 6'4" now? I don't know what I think about it.
I will say he is 6'4" with his hair.
Yeah.
Because his hair is a little longer and it's a little taller on his head. So there was no crazy change up in haircuts this year. And I feel like Wes rocked a different style last year that surprised some of us. But everybody else had a normal haircut going. So nothing too fun to play with. Salah was classic Salah. And he walked down the stairs and the reporter / media person beside me joked with him, "Hey, can I get you for a second?" And Salah responded back with a not live worthy word and blank no and with a laugh. And we're like, "Welcome back, Salah. We're so glad that you are back in Dallas." And
I saw him go down the stairs on the, I think it's still on the Dallas Maps Instagram story, and he almost tripped down the stairs.
oh gosh.
That's a big dude going down some stairs.
Yeah, it is. He is so fun to. I was messing with him today. He was taking pictures, and I was walking behind the cameraman, making faces and all this different stuff. And he just started cracking up, and he was like closing his eyes during pictures. And he's a blast, man. He's so fun.
Oh man, Jordan Simon says we need long-haired Dirk back. I agree. I miss
Jordan,
long-haired Dirk.
Jordan, I'm all there with you. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll ever get it unless he moves to Hawaii and starts a marijuana farm and joins Don Nelson. Then we might. Can you imagine like Don Nelson right now?
Oh gosh. Question from S-Deeb. Was Ding there? Anything of note regarding him? I did see Ding. I saw Ding on the live stream. He was there. Anything of
Ding
note?
walked down with his phone and he was just like, what's going on? Basically. I will say this. Mavs China had whatever that is. I have no clue what that is. But anyway, Mavs China had 2 rooms reserved. So there was some Chinese media there for Ding. And I posted a slow-mo thing of him today doing this like pass. And it was I thoroughly enjoyed it. But he seemed like a nice guy. Like I said something to him in passing, and he was at least friendly that way. So Ding was there. Ding did have some photo shoots made. He did not take pictures, with like the starting 5, unfortunately.
Oh, Mr. Najaro goes, when is Ding's jersey retirement?
That will probably come at the end of the China trip.
When they leave him.
In China. They'll retire his Mavericks jersey in China.
Oh, man.
But no, that NBA TV was there. I think I mentioned that earlier, but I forget her name. The lady that was there interviewing people, because I tweeted that out today, and somebody quote tweeted me and said, "Oh my gosh, so and so is there at the Mavs facility," and they said like her name. I guess she's on NBA TV all the time. But
it wasn't Kristen Ledlow.
No, it wasn't Ledlow. I know her, but I don't know. It was another blonde-haired lady. But anyway, yeah, they were there, and that was super cool. But
D-Man said, "I wish Nick was a Mavs fan." This is a question for the live stream. This is a good one for the live stream.
Who said that?
I think fandom is a spectrum, and now I've been covering I have an invested interest in the Mavs right now, right? And since I started covering them, I have an invested interest in them. On what spectrum of fandom, from like all the way to Clipper Darryl, where I'm turning my house into Clippers colors, to like a casual fan that will just watch like 1 or 2 games a year. Where do you think on that spectrum I fall as far as the Mavericks?
That's super. We can't like judge your fandom because you don't watch 1 or 2 games a year. You watch every single game, but it's because you covered them. So, I feel
like I haven't gone full Zach Lowe, where Zach Lowe is like a basketball atheist, where he doesn't have a team anymore. You know what I mean?
No, that's where the two opposite ends of the spectrum, and this is why like I respect and like the Ringer because they bring an aspect of like cover that you can cover the NBA in a fun, lighthearted, and professional way, but still have some fandoms too, like Bill and the Celtics, and some of them in their Philly, and all this different stuff. John and the Mavs and Charks, our buddy Charks. I didn't see Charks today. Anyway, um, but no, I would probably put you at like a 4,
Out of 10?
maybe 5. I don't know. Yeah, I'd put you around like a 5 because your Lakers stuff is like, you're a huge Lakers fan, but
That's just deep seated into my roots. That's like
it is. It's deep seated.
it's sad, but
You're
yeah.
going
Oh,
to.
I think someone in the chat said it was Ali LaForce.
That's who it was.
Yeah.
Thank you for whoever you are in the chat.
I don't know. My chat went away. I'm having issues with the chat. I'm having issues with the different chats. It's hard to keep track of them all.
So I talked to. First, I hope you enjoyed the Ryan Brokoff interview yesterday. If you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to it. He's a really cool dude. But no, yeah, I talked to Luka for a little bit today. You might hear that at the end of this podcast if you listen to audio.
Now?
Oh gosh, no, I don't want to hear it now.
But you do want to hear it now.
I don't want to hear it right now.
Let's listen to it right now. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but they'll be able to hear it.
Okay, you want to listen to it right now?
All right, so
it's
coming up
like
right now,
a couple minutes.
I can't take a break because it's live. We don't have commercials.
Oh, that's true.
That's okay. Coming up, we're going to hear from Luka Doncic. Isaac got a one-on-one with him, and let's see if this works. It obviously did not work. Let me change something real quick. There's a lot of moving parts going on right now.
I'm trying to think of something else from Media Day today regarding.
I think I got it.
So your Dallas Maverick.
Here we go. Did you edit out that part in the middle?
Great.
I did edit out the part in the middle. They won't hear that. So, all right, here is Luka Doncic talking to Isaac Harris, the one and only.
So your Dallas Maverick.
Yeah.
How's it feel?
Great.
Good?
Yeah.
How's Media Day treating you?
It's been okay.
How's it different than Media Day over there?
No, it's almost the same.
The same?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Stuff.
How's the adjustment to Dallas been going?
It's been good. Yeah. I have the place and everything set.
Hugo doing good?
Yeah. He is.
Adjusting well.
Yeah.
Have you had Whataburger yet?
Not yet.
Not yet, but it's coming though.
Yeah, I need to try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's the scrimmages with the team been going over the past couple weeks?
No, it's been great. Practicing. All the guys been great to me. I just really like it here.
Okay. How's it been with Dennis, playing with Dennis?
Great. He's a great player. He's really improving his shot. And it's gonna be really tough to defend him this year.
You think playing with Sergio Lowell over there is any comparison to playing with Dennis here?
Yeah, maybe some of that, because both are point guards, and I play with them, so it's like combo guard. And you can say that.
You got to catch the court with DeAndre any?
No, we didn't play. I mean, we just individual training.
Yeah. All right, first game coming up a week from now, basically. Any jitters? You nervous at all, or is it just another game?
No, it's just a game. It's been a long time since I played the game, so can't wait.
All right. So you're Dallas Maverick.
Yeah.
How's
There we go. That's your own Luka Doncic talking with our own Isaac Harris.
Yeah, it was just, Luka on Media Days pulled a ton of different directions. And he had his press conference. That was right before his press conference with all the media. And I just wanted a chance to talk to him for a couple minutes. Hopefully in the near future, we'll get a longer sit down with him at some point. But just want to throw him a few questions, talk to him about a few things, and introduce myself and all that stuff. And he's a fan of the Locked On Mavericks podcast.
He is now. He's not like a everyday listener like Mark Cuban is, but
saw Cuban today.
he was there.
Yes. Was that not a thing
I
that
mean,
was
I just
supposed
didn't
to?
see him on literally anything, and then they did that photo with. And by the way, the photo with the cowboy hats, and you saw I tweeted it out. Dallas Mavs Obviously, they put it on their Instagram. It's the cowboy hat one where you have Dirk on, Mark Cuban's back and then Steve Nash next to him. They kind of tried to recreate that with Luka on somebody's back and then Dennis next to him. And the guy that they used was Isaac finally told me. I didn't even know who this guy was, honestly. You sent it to me and I was like, I've seen that guy, but I don't have no idea who that guy is. And he said it's assistant GM Keith Grant. So why Grant instead of Mark Cuban? That's the big question. That's actually the biggest question coming out of Media Day today. Not why is Dirk going to the bench, not why is anything. Just why Keith Grant and not Mark Cuban.
I have no clue. And I have no answer to that.
I thought maybe he wasn't there.
No, yes. We fist bumped, so he was definitely there in the hallway. He wasn't walking around everyone, but I was down this other hallway whenever I talked to Luka all by myself, and he came to the hallway, and it's like blah 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 blah. But yeah, he was definitely there, and I don't know about him talking to media and not coming out and all that stuff, but there. I do see another question in the Twitch chat.
Okay, give me the question. I don't see it for some reason.
Were there any fun Rick teasing the media moments or anyone else?
That's a good question. I didn't see any. He didn't do any on Ben and Skin either, which was good.
There was one dude asking about hand checking, and I forgot what type of question it was, but Rick just literally looked at him and said, "How old are you?" And the guy was like 47, and he was like, "Oh, okay. Well, you know about it." And they started like talking all this different stuff. 47. But luckily, Rick was not, to my knowledge, unless I missed some, which I don't think I did. To my knowledge, Rick was not asked about Fortnite. So that became a theme today that I did not think would happen, and it was very weird that was brought up. But I think it was brought up with Dirk first, and just out of nowhere, I forgot who asked him.
Which is hilarious because we joked about that. We even put a poll on Locked On Mavs Twitter. We were like, if Dirk was 20 years old now, would he be playing Fortnite? Because that's what Luka and Dennis are doing to hang out together. And we were just joking about it, but now apparently it's someone actually asked him for real.
I know what started. Dirk, somebody asked Dirk about Dennis and Luka bonding as like young teammates, and that's when Dirk made the sly comment of, "Yeah, I think they've clicked over PlayStation or something," and it was the funniest like low-key comment. And then that's when somebody said, "Dirk, do you play Fortnite or something?" And he's like, "No, I'm too old, and my kids are not like old enough yet," basically. So that like naturally rolled over into Dennis and Luka, and it was just it was weird of like Luka, who's the better Fortnite player, and then somebody else chimed in. It was like, how many kills have you gotten in? And like this is a press conference room that is packed full of national media, local media. There's all these cameras, people asking serious questions about basketball fit and like moving to Dallas, all this stuff. And it's like, how many kills have you gotten in a Fortnite match? Multiple 2K questions about who's better in 2K, and there was definitely a lighthearted note to Media Day.
And it seems like the team right now is having a more lighthearted swing. There's a lot more characters. That's one big thing I learned today is that there's more characters on this team maybe than ever, and they enjoy being together. I think there's a Dirk, Deandre, affection at least, or like a buddy kind of thing. And we even saw Wes smile a couple times today, which is massive.
That was breaking news.
That was huge. And then obviously, if you listen to the Ben and Skin interview they sat down with Dennis, Luka, and Dorian Finney-Smith. And they were just all laughing and talking. And they talked a lot about Fortnite too, but that's sort of been a theme on Ben and Skin's show for a while. So that wasn't anything surprising. It is kind of weird when like, a press conference room is a fairly professional environment and you're asking questions like that. But
yeah, it brought some laughter. Some people, there are probably some older reporters that are like, what's Fortnite? What's that?
Do you think anyone doesn't know what Fortnite is? Like that it at least is a video.
I don't know if you
know what I mean.
Dwayne Price, are we sure?
Does Dwayne Price in his alligator shoes know that Fortnite is a video game? Like if I said, hey Dwayne, do you know what Fortnite is? Do you think he would say
he's like, video game? What? Yeah, there's a fort in the night.
Fortnite, what is that? 20 days? I don't know.
Fortnite. Speaking of Wesley, there was a funny moment when DeAndre first came down the stairs for the first time. He had a bowl, and it looked like he was eating cereal. But Wes looked at him and said, "Well, I'm glad you're here. It took you 4 years." And that was funny. And that's when DeAndre was like, "No, it's only been 3." And they laughed about that and took some pictures together.
That's funny. All right, let's get into this. We might as well. The starting lineup has been set. How do you feel about it? How do you feel? And there's been a couple of questions in the comments that I've been holding off on. Is Luka Doncic really starting at the 4?
They're not. It is not a positional thing. Like something that you're gonna have to. We're gonna have to just get out of our heads is these numbers. Like, just get that completely out of your head of like who's playing the 1, 2, 3, 4, because your definition of what those numbers are is going to vary by person. Because is your definition of who plays the 1 is who brings the ball up the court, then okay, well, Luka Doncic might be your 1 and Dennis might be your 2 sometimes. Is your, like, you see what I'm saying? Because like Dirk even referenced, when I think it was Dirk that was talking about their pickup games, and Dirk said, yeah, Luka's even been, coming down, getting the ball and bringing it up the court sometimes. And that was like, okay, like, cool. Like, Luka's actually playing some point with Dennis off the ball. Dennis even mentioned it on the, I think, Ben & Skin show, when he said, I've never played with a player like Luka that is always looking to like find me. And I like that. I like that. It's a telling statement from him, because he's always had to be the one finding other people as the point guard. And now he has somebody that will find him. And one thing that we've heard all out of scrimmages, it seems like from everybody, and Dodo was the last person to say it today on the Ben & Skin show, of saying, what's one thing about Luka? And everybody just praises how good of a passer he is. And Dodo said he has eyes in the back of his head. And that just, the passes that Luka is going to pull off it's going to be so fun to watch this year. But so is Luka playing the 4? I mean, I would lean more towards Harrison being that 4. You might even see West there at sometimes. But, Rick was very clear of saying we need West on the court to be our best defender against these wing guys. And so it kind of just depends. Like, somebody might be, in your personal definition, whoever you are, he might be a 4 on the offensive end, but a 2 on the defensive end, or vice versa. So I would recommend stay away from numbers. It's just a matter of starters and then who they match up with from then.
Yeah, it's like the only number that matters is 5. That's the number of players you can start. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then everybody else is, and it really does kind of blow your mind, because we've been looking at these players through these positional scopes for forever. We even just did a positional ranking. Like, we probably should stop doing that.
Yeah, I mean, this year might be our last one. Like, as far as next year, we might just do like point guards and like wings and bigs.
That's probably how we'd have to do it.
Like something like that. And even then, classifying somebody from a big and a wing is going to be hard. Or if we just do it by height or something like that, like that's about the only way. It's just how the NBA is today. So I seen like Tim McMahon from ESPN tweet out and was like, here's your projected Mavs starting lineup. And it was like point guard, Dennis Smith, shooting guard, blah, blah, blah. And like Skin had already joking. He's like, don't, putting positions on these guys. It's going to be multi-positional, basketball. So it's gonna intertwine. There's gonna be a lot of different changes, a lot of different guys going in and out, different positions. This is what training camp's for, but it's gonna be cool because we get to see it all in action next weekend.
It's gonna be exciting. I'm really, really into it. Let's keep talking. And I'm not seeing a ton of chats. Maybe my thing is broken, but I'm
seeing some on Twitch for sure.
If you're watching on anything right now, Periscope, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, go ahead and send a comment, and we'll go ahead and we'll read them and answer your questions. And you got a lot of questions about Media Day. We got a lot of things to talk about. So
I love this question right here, and this is a heck of a question from DLB, I think. He asked it one while ago, but he said, do you guys think that Dirk should or will get an introduction as the sixth man at home games?
It's a great question. This is a great
That's
question.
a heck of a question, dude.
All right, this is I'm claiming this as this was my idea, and I know this is gonna happen. But I said this so long ago. They need to do the WWE / closer / whatever kind of entrance for Dirk whenever he comes in. Either it's the first time out or whatever, or whenever he's gonna come in. They need to do some kind of entrance where he's somewhere else and he comes through a tunnel and the lights go down and they do this entrance that's like a shortened version of the main entrance, and the main introduction that everybody does. That way he gets his standing ovation. Sean Heath can go, "Everybody on your feet for the 13-time All-Star, Dirk Nowitzki." And everybody stands up and gets to do his, his whole standing ovation and everything like that. And just it would take them 2 minutes. And they could have all the lighting and all that stuff, all synchronized to be able to do it, and boom. And it would be awesome. It would be like, and the reason why I said closer earlier is because Mariano Rivera, the closer for the Yankees, used to come in and they play Enter Sandman every single time he comes in. Why not do that for Dirk? Why not? I mean, it's going to be a little gimmicky, but why not?
I'd be all down for it. It would be kind of heartbreaking seeing Dirk on the bench, or he's just going to be high-fiving people and like he's not mentioned at all. If he's not, who's the last person?
Who's the last? Oh, the last person to get introduced. Somebody on Twitter asked me this today. The last person to be introduced is going to be Harrison Barnes. But then the question was, who's going to have the biggest ovation or the biggest response? And I think it's going to be DeAndre.
Oh, I think it's going to be Luka.
See, I think it's going to be DeAndre because he's, it's taken a while for him to get here, and he's the biggest name on the whole thing. Maybe you got to think about the Mavs fans that go to games. Remember the Mavs fans that go to games and that are at a lot of the games?
Why are you laughing?
It's just because they're not the fans that are super into the very nitty-gritty stuff that we're into every single day.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe those people.
I mean, there's casual fans that go to Mavs games, and that's totally fine. They don't have to, I think they should all be listening to this podcast. But if they are,
of course. I mean,
the deep grips of it. Question from Vico Hill: Dirk 6th Man of the Year candidate, or Dirk 6th Man of the Year confirmed? He said.
Confirmed. Man, that's fun to think about. He would just have to. He would have to score a lot, and I'm not for sure if he would get the minutes to score that much. That would be my only thing, but that would be really cool. And it's funny you say that. I was thinking about if he got that accomplishment. Somebody asked him today, and it was a heck of a question. At this point in your career, what are you still trying to accomplish? And after you've accomplished all you've had, and that's when he brought out the great one-liner, and he goes, "Well, I've always wanted to win a dunk contest." And he goes, "And a 3-point and a skills challenge in one weekend."
The Damian Lillard special.
Everybody was cracking up about that, but Dirk's awesome. And somebody asked on Twitch, said, "Will Dirk be a closer?"
Yeah, it's a good question. So does Dirk finish games? He's not going to be starting games apparently, but is Dirk going to finish games?
I think it just depends on the lineup, but I would say no. I think you could see him in situational, like a situation to where Mavs call timeout, they're down by 3 with 12 seconds left, and they have the ball, and they need a 3. Then I could definitely see that. They put him in there, space the floor, let him do his thing. Like I could see him putting him in for like a situation base, putting him in for DeAndre, and saying, "Hey, fully space the floor. It's not about getting the rebound. We just need a 3 or a bucket," and he helps you do that. So I could see him like that. Do I see a situation in which they put him in at like the 4-minute mark and say finish out the fourth quarter? I don't see that. No.
Do you think that because of these options now, because of these end of game options, that you have DeAndre as your big rim protector guy, the roll to the rim guy? You have Dirk as as the stretch guy that can come in and play certain lineups. You have Luka. You have Harrison that are very positionless that can go to a lot of different places. You have Wes Matthews that can throw at a lot of different guys. You have even a guy like Dorian Finney-Smith who can guard a whole bunch of different players. Do you think that, now adding all these options and having all these options on the table, do you think it's going to help the Mavericks finally win clutch games this year? I think that was brought up a lot today. The 50 games where they were within 5 points, within 5 minutes of, the end of the game. And, the Mavericks couldn't close out like 38 of them or something wild like that. That's been said a lot this summer. And it was said by Carlisle today, at least, on Ben and Skin. Do you think that will help the Mavericks?
Absolutely. I mean, you look at the team that lost these 30-something games by a lot of points. They're basically bringing back the same exact team, adding Luka Doncic and DeAndre Jordan to that. So naturally, you want to tell yourself, yeah.
I'm losing Isaac. I knew this was going to happen. Everything froze.
Are you still there?
You're
here. Still there now. Okay, did I go out?
You did go out. Yeah, your video's still out right now. We knew this is the first time we've ever done this, so this is kind of a test of a lot of different things. Mostly just my.
If you're a fan of this,
CPU.
let us. If you're a fan of this, let us know, because we're going to try to perfect this and make it happen here and there. But you can still hear me though, right?
I can still hear you. I just can't see you right now.
Okay, that's fine.
So you were talking about...
but just thinking about Luka at the end of games, if Luka steps in and can be this playmaker that we expect that he can, imagine him at the end of games, in the situation, running a pick and roll, running a pick and pop with Dirk, or getting into Harrison and all this different stuff. And I was thinking of when Bill and Steve Nash was talking about Kevin Durant and the difference between Kevin Durant and OK State the other day, and they're talking about how in OKC, like at the end of games, like they would throw it to Durant and he would get it with his back to the basket and then have to create something for himself and all that stuff. I think Luka allows Harrison Barnes to be like how Golden State runs these things for Kevin Durant. Like, they don't just give it to him and say, hey, go do your thing, like OKC did. They run these different plays, these pin downs, these curls and different stuff to get Kevin Durant open and all this different stuff. And I think Luka will allow Harrison Barnes to do that, because we both think Harrison Barnes will be still like the scorer, the closer, stuff like that. But I don't think at times it could get frustrating when they just throw it to Harrison and he's like just one-on-one and say, hey, go do your thing. Yeah, Luka allows them to actually like run a play, run off some picks and stuff, and get Harrison going on some different movements and stuff. And that would be cool to watch.
Question from Zuoxic. If you had to pick two players to play in a tournament from this current team, who would it be? So let's say that there's a 2-on-2 tournament, maybe in the NBA or in the Olympics. You had to pick just two players. So this is not even necessarily a question of who are the best two players on the Mavericks, but which two players would you pick to play in a tournament right now?
In the NBA.
Two players on the Mavericks that you would pick to play in a tournament.
In real life or 2K?
No, like in real life. Come on.
I would say Luka and probably Harrison Barnes.
That's probably the two. You could, depending on your matchups, you could throw DeAndre in there for sure. Like
obviously
Luka and DeAndre, but you don't have any shooting with.
Yeah, it just depends on who you're matching up against. If you're going against the Jazz and it's like Donovan Mitchell and Gobert, then you pick Luka and DeAndre. So, but it just depends on your matchup. But I like that question though.
It's a good question from L Tambor or I Tambor, Tabor. Sorry, Tambor. I don't know where that came from. What does Brunson's role look like with JJ being the point guard of the second unit? So where do you feel like Jalen Brunson is going to fit in? He seems like a name that's sort of kind of under the radar right now.
Yeah, I think he's going to take a Yogi Ferrell type of role, to where he'll be like the third point guard. Like third point guard traditionally, because Luka's going to play some point too. So it's going to be like Dennis, JJ, Brunson. But I think you'll see Brunson play a little off the ball some. And a lot of it's going to come down like Brunson's one of these guys I'm really looking at in the preseason. And
Yeah, I
over
think
these,
he's getting a lot of playing time.
he's going to get a lot of run because they're going to get JJ and stuff going in Devin. But like both those guys, we know we were getting in them. But you want to see what you have in Jalen Brunson and see if he's going to if he can play off the ball some, which they tried out in summer league some. But yeah, I think he'll be a third guard. He probably isn't going to be getting a ton of minutes. I don't think he's going to be averaging 16 minutes a game or something like that. So, they're going to develop him. They're a believer in him, but I think he's just a long-term replacement for JJ Barea.
From Mr. Nadroj, do you think that Maxey will lose a good chunk of minutes or nearly all to Ray Spalding? That's a good question. I'm doing the Maxey Kleba player preview for Moneyball this year, writing it. And I really wanted to do it because I think that's a possibility. I think that Maxey could fall out of the rotation, and there's a few things he really has to do. And Maxey's my guy. Like I'm all for Maxey. Really hope that he stays in the rotation. I was for him last year, even before, like last year at this time, he was kind of like a Ryan Broekhoff. We sort of knew what to expect from him, but not really. Like we didn't really know that he could, fill a role or even start in spots. And then he came in last year and we didn't even know if he was going to make the team. Now we kind of know Ryan Broekhoff was going to make the team, but we didn't even know if Kleba was going to make the team last year. And he did, and he ended up starting for that chunk of that stretch. And what he really needs to do, and it's something I think I saw Carlisle talk about recently, is that he needs to improve his jump shot. I think he was 31% from three. If he can improve that jump shot, which is supposed to be his bread and butter, which is supposed to be the thing he's really, really good at, then I think that he is back there. He's getting like, he's now pushed behind. He's behind Dwight Powell, and now Dirk is the backup center. So maybe he's the third center. Maybe he's the third, four. But then you also have Harrison Barnes and Luka that are interchangeable at the four, and they're going to play these different lineups. So if we're just going to, put bigs together, there's DeAndre, there's Dirk, there's Dwight, and then there's Maxey. I think those are the bigs. If you're just looking at,
you got Salah too.
Bigs are and Salah, and then Maxey. Where would you put them? Like if you had to have a depth chart, Salah and Maxey, who would you?
Well, somebody asked that on there and said Dirk, Maxey, Powell, and Salah on Twitch. Twitch is another one I can see right now. Nick can see the other ones, but they asked how that will like shake out. And I mean, in my opinion, I think they're going to try their best to see about Dwight Powell at the four. I don't think you'll see Dirk at the four any. Yeah. So I think they're going to try, and we're probably going to hear it again. Dwight Powell's worked on his shot all summer.
No, we just went through this.
But no, you even heard Rick mention about Finney Smith and said, Wes, I think he said Harrison and, Dorian are our best wing defenders. And so if they're expecting him to be in that second unit, you kind of look at these second unit battles. And as far as, I think Finney Smith versus Broekhoff, both like 6'7", 6'6", through there. Who, what's going to overvalue the other person? Broekhoff can shoot the lights out, but he's a sneaky defender too. But Finney Smith could probably play better defense, but doesn't have the shot as Broekhoff. Which one will they, value?
Yeah, you just kind of wish you could combine them.
Yeah. And then when you look at the bigs, how will, Maxey, Ray, and some of them, split their times and stuff. And of course, I'm a big Ray Spalding fan, so I think he will exceed expectations.
Check. We back. Sometimes Skype does this for us on podcasts, and I have to edit it all out. So, we're trying it. We're working it right now. And it's also funny if you could hear Isaac's phone buzz on his desk. He was getting a Woj tweet, and I was getting the same one. We both looked at our phones at the same time to try to see what Woj was tweeting. And it says, story filed to ESPN as Minnesota's front office tells inquiring rivals that team has no plans to trade Jimmy Butler. Owner Glenn Taylor had a different message at NBA Board of Governors meeting. Butler is available, and owner/GM should contact Taylor himself if necessary. This is a mess over there in Minnesota. The Minnesota mess right now with the players is as bad as a mess as our live stream right now, as far as our connection between me and Isaac. That's what the Minnesota mess is like right now. Isaac, you back? We back? No? Isaac's gone. And there's Isaac's thing. And we will we'll hide Isaac. Oh, man. All right, so okay, there you go. That's the live stream. We tried it. We'll not. I don't know if I'll release this as a podcast because of all the interruptions. But here, guys, thanks so much for listening and commenting on the live stream. Hopefully, we got to all of your questions. If not, we'll probably do this again. We got a lot of kinks to figure out, and a lot of things to work on. But thanks so much for watching and hanging out on Locked On Mavs Live, the first one. So. A lot of things to work out, but we'll be back. Guys, thanks so much for watching and commenting, and let's go Mavs. Yes.